I'm back. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the new year, episode 146 of Just Joshing. I am your host, Joshua Penteleresco. I write stuff and podcast too. Today, my guest is none other than Laura Beers. We're going to be talking about happy endings, fiction, epilogues, Wonder Woman, and many, many more cool things. But first, it's been an interesting couple weeks. I have new teeth. Yeah, well, I have a denture in my mouth, a partial denture. I did it. And we'll talk a little bit about some of the things I didn't do, and some of the surprises that came about as a result of me doing this. But I kind of wanted to talk real quick about my goals for this year. Try to be a better person. I got like 3 simple big things I want to achieve this year. I want to release another book, and that's coming soon. I want to expand the podcast. I kind of also want to get myself in shape to be a firefighter. That's right, a firefighter. Now, being a firefighter in Canada is super, super tough. I don't know if I'm ever going to actually get into the program. It's a big waiting list. It takes time and all kinds of other things. But, yeah, I just thought, time to up my game and try to make a difference. I enjoy being physical at my job, but I'd rather take that physicality and do something really worthwhile with it and still use my brain and do other things I'm doing. So, but lastly, just be a better person. Last couple days, I realized that there's some things I need to work on personally. And I want to work on them. I don't know if I'm going to get it all right, but I will try my best to get it all right. Okay, let's get on to the show, shall we? So I have returned the recorder on.
Okay.
If there's anything incriminating you want to say, make it good.
Sadly, my life is pretty boring right now.
Your life is pretty boring right now? Why is your life boring right now?
3 kids, and they're 11, 10, and 7.
That does.
My husband's taking a nap, and Sunday we tend to just take naps on Sunday.
Nap time Sunday is awesome. Do you do recess too?
Well, our kids were fighting, so I guess that counted.
Yeah, I'm just saying, because, when you have kids like that, I mean, that doesn't sound boring. I mean, you have an 11-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 7-year-old. That just sounds like a recipe for trouble,
That is true.
Yeah, it keeps you young, or makes you go...
They're just at the age where we can... Well, they're just at the age where we can take a nap, my husband and I, without worrying about them fighting, but then today they were fighting over Uno, so...
Uno. Well, that is a flip the table kind of game. When I played with my family, see, the pick up 4 rule was nasty because we could stack it. We can make it as the last thing that could happen to somebody, so you can wait and hold it till the very end and then come out with it. Just be like, we were mean. I could just see that, like, if they played like anything like the way I played, the person just would get mad because it'd probably be the same person getting victimized over and over and over again, and then one thing leads to another, and then all of a sudden it's like, and then you guys got to come in like with a spatula just to scrape them off each other, and it's like, okay.
Nowadays they don't allow spatulas. When we were younger, my parents used to throw spatulas at us and hit us.
Oh.
We have to talk about their feelings.
No. So for me, it was a wooden spoon. Now I hardly ever got the wooden spoon. I can actually say that because the only way I would get in trouble. Well, no, because see, I was a nice, well-mannered kid. My sister, however, was not. She would get me in trouble, right? She just right but and she knows is listening to this because she loves me very much and stuff like that. Actually, she's great. But the truth is, between the two of us, I could be left alone all day. You give me a deck of cards, I'd be fine. With her, 5 minutes and she'd wreck the house. Just that was her nature, right? So but one of my favorite stories about my sister though was one time she knew she was going to get the spoon, so she hid all the wooden spoons under her bed, all of them.
Well done.
Yes. That was one of the few times she actually got away with it, because when they found that all the spoons were there, they couldn't keep a straight face. So just like, okay, you know what? you know, it's funny because I think if I did have kids today, it's I'm very much of the mindset that sometimes like parents have to be tyrants. Sometimes they have to be. It's the kid's goal is to rule the house.
Yes.
Right. The parents' goal is to keep control of the house, but also eventually give the kids that ability to run their own. Right.
True.
Not yours. So I always have the impression that you know, for the first 10, 12 years of a kid's life, you have to be somewhat of a tyrant. And then as they get to about 12 and they're like, okay, I can start making my own decisions. You at that point you're like, you know what? Go for it, and then you just grab popcorn and just watch.
Oh no, that's right now we're tyrants, but our son has Snapchat, 11-year-old son.
Ah.
And I'm not sure. Snapchat is one of those things where all of a sudden we can't follow what he's doing. So about a couple weeks ago, we decided you don't get Snapchat because we can't follow what you're doing, and you know you're not making good choices. It was like world was like slamming doors. He was shutting. We like ruined his social life.
Aw.
We just can't trust you. So our job is not to be friends with our kids. Our job is to raise them.
Yes. Well, be tyrants. But I mean, like I said, you have to be a little bit. It's just the way it is. I'm actually of the mindset that I probably wouldn't give a kid a cell phone until they were at least 13.
Smart.
Yeah.
We had to negotiate with our son. Our son is almost 12. He'll be 12 at the end of this month, and he's 6'2". So he has no. He's incredibly tall, but he has no desire to play sports. So we negotiated if we give him a phone, he would try out for some of the sports teams.
Ah.
So that was our negotiation tactic.
You're basically like, look, we want you to learn how to talk to people. So you in person. So so we're gonna make you do that, even if it means you're playing football and pile driving people on the other side. We're good with that. Just it'll build character or some such thing, but you gotta then you get a phone. You're chuckling at my how I look at things. I can tell.
I do. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. Well, it's just one of those. You know, you got to look at it. I mean, what's real today? Like they have to. You have to realize that today you have to make sure that your kids have the tools and the abilities to handle the toys that are there today. Like I didn't have a cell phone when I was a kid. Like back in my day, or some wonderful things, we still had recess, and that was and we had social things. So now, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I don't know if you listen to any of my shows. I actually like the idea that like the fact that me and you are having this conversation right now. That would not have been possible even 10 years ago. Right? So I always so that's a really cool one hand. But on the other hand, I'm watching this. Like people are a lot more socially awkward today.
Very much so. Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes that's that works in your favor. Like when I do shows and stuff like that, I find that like things like eye contact, smiling, and it actually draws them in better because they're not no one's used to that stuff anymore.
It's insane, yes. My son is so excited. He walks around the house going, I'm trying to get 200 followers for some link or something. I said, do you know any of these people that are following you? And he's like, well, I know some. And that was one of the reasons why we got involved. You just can't friend people that you don't know as an 11-year-old boy. So it's fun. It's amazing. I remember when I was younger, when I was a senior in high school, my parents gave me a pager. And I thought I was like the bomb with a pager.
The bomb.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm getting.
And now everyone looks at me like the pager because I was only for a few years.
Yes.
The pager was a very short period of time.
Well, yeah, because we got more sophisticated really quickly. I mean, yeah, I got page. I was never cool enough for a pager. I'm barely cool enough for my phone. But I mean, that you know, she's laughing at that. That's good. But no,
yeah. I was in high school and I remember getting a page in the middle. I played 3 sports and I was being volleyball and I'd be done with it and all of a sudden I get this page and I'm like, excuse me guys, I have a page. Let me go find a payphone so I can then call my family.
Payphones are now like rare treasures. They still exist, but they're not very common anymore.
They're not.
No.
Although an embarrassing thing happened today, we were driving to church, and my same 11-year-old son saw someone. We were kind of like in the back roads, and they were drying their clothes on hangers, like, kind of on the back thing. And he's like, "Oh, I can't believe they're drying their clothes outside." And I said, "Sweetheart, maybe their dryer's broken. Maybe they do." I said, "People have been doing that for hundreds of years." And he's like, "No, they haven't." I said, "How do you think they dry their clothes?" He's like, "They blow on them." And I tried. Did our son just say that they blowed on their clothes to dry them, or they blew on their clothes?
Actually, at that point, this is what I would do. You know what I do? I do some wash. Hey, son, come here. Blow on this until it dries.
Actually, I think I might do that later. But
that's awesome. No. Although now, scary thing now is I wonder if they actually know what baking soda is used for today. Most people don't, by and large, know what that's used for anymore either. It's interesting because, okay, so I don't know how old you are, but I'm 36 years old. What?
I'm 37.
I'm 36. We are old enough to remember how things were done before.
Yes.
Right? And yet we're young enough and adaptable enough still to be able to handle this new and wonderful stuff that's coming up. And one of the things that knowledge is incredible today. I'm writing for my nano. I'm doing erase inside a star. So I get to learn I learned all kinds of cool stuff about stars before I even got this done.
Uh-huh.
Right? Like for example, I didn't realize iron was such a key component to a star. I never knew that before. Right? Yeah, that was really cool, right? That's a really cool thing. And one of the things now is I can learn anything about anything. That is we live in an age today. I don't use Google, not because I'm not cool enough, but because I don't think Google is a good search engine anymore. But I can research. I can research anything I want, and if I look at it deep and long enough, I can figure out how things work and can do a lot of things on my own. That is awesome.
That's great.
Yeah. But on the flip side, do you know what I see on my Facebook page mostly?
What?
Cat memes and political affiliations. And I'm okay with the cat stuff. I mean, it's kind of ancient Egypt, but I'm okay with some things coming around again. It's all good, right? As the Bible says, there's nothing new under the sun. That's just nothing new under the sun. Political affiliation depresses me a little bit, but that's why I have happy coffee. And but
yeah, that is a tough one. Yes.
But yeah, okay, so. I'm not going to ask your political affiliation. It really doesn't matter to me. I'm very deliberately politically atheistic. It no longer seems to make sense to be associated with anything like that anymore. But I mean, I watch Facebook, and is it as divided? I'm just asking just based because I'm not there. Is it as divided as it seems when I read a Facebook post?
It's ridiculous. I am not, believe it or not, I actually, I know it sounds so horrible, you're going to judge me, but I could not vote for Trump or Hillary.
I didn't either. I voted for Bernie Sanders. Empty vote, I wrote it in.
Yeah, I just couldn't do it. Because I normally side more conservative, but Trump is not conservative. I like some of his views, but I don't like him as a person. I don't like Hillary. It's really interesting because the media is definitely attacking Trump because he's an idiot on some things, but he's also very smart on others. But because of it is divided. It's really hard. Right now, our country is having a really hard time where we should be focusing on what's best for the country, what's best for our children, what's best for everyone, and we're not there.
No.
So it's sad.
Well, it just to me. Okay, so this is my thinking. This is just the way it is. I'm talking to you right now. Do you know it wouldn't be very difficult, really, today with the way things are? You could talk to your congressman, you could talk to your president, you could talk to your vice president, you could talk to all those people. Snap your fingers. I mean, the technology's there. There is no more need anymore to have the groups of people segregated. Right? Does that make sense what I'm talking about? Like, it no longer matters anymore because what's happening, it's no longer, it's like we don't need, like, representation as we know it today shouldn't exist. It's 200 years old, and I can talk to people in Australia, Japan, New Zealand, Iraq, Iran. Like, we can literally, with our tools, talk to anybody. Like, there's no limitations anymore. So, if that's the case, then my question is, does the government anymore represent the people and their needs today? And from what I can gather and from what I'm seeing, no. There's no need for most of the things that go on today. Now, I do think personally that the United States has a lot of internal problems that I think by and large Americans are afraid to look at. Because there are a lot of elephants in the room in terms of poverty, the extremities there, points of view. It's like the United States. Jon Stewart said this once: that the real battle in the United States today is about moderation versus extremism. And right now, it seems to me like with what I'm seeing, there is a lot of extremes on either side, and no one's actually making a bridge to try to understand each other and where they come from. And the thing is, today, what's really ironic about that is, like I said, the tools are there. Like, I can talk to you. We might not agree on everything. Right? I think personally that education should be free. Because I like the idea of a kid, to me, an idea of a kid going to school, going to college, getting an education, right? Getting an education and then being saddled with hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt is stupid. It's stupid. I mean, if they're supposed to be the generation that gets ahead and makes a better world than the one we left them, then wouldn't it make sense to give them the opportunity to start with a clean slate? Let them have the room to make mistakes, right? That's
My husband. Yeah, my husband's one of those. He went to law school at USD.
Yeah.
And so, we were saddled with a nice law school debt.
Yeah.
So,
and
we were able to pay for his undergraduate out of pocket, but yeah, it is tough.
Well, yeah. Well, and here's the thing: you're probably still in debt, not just because of that, but because now what happens is life happens. You have a house, you have a car, you got kids to raise, right? You have food to put on the table. You're not going to see the end of that debt probably until your 50s, and that's I'm not trying.
You must be looking straight at us. This is exactly right. Yeah, it will be a long time before. It is a small mortgage payment every month that we're paying.
Yeah, no, exactly. So and it shouldn't be that way. Like it really shouldn't. Like my philosophy should be, okay, look, because if it's going to cost you that much to get an education, and I'm not saying don't learn because I want people to learn and be smarter and be wiser, then as it is today, do I want is what my kid going for in school worth the cost he's going to pay in terms of his time or her time? Right? And that's one issue. That's a big issue. Another issue is the job markets are changing. Yeah. Right? The job markets are changing. They're like, my day job is obsolete now. It's not going to be phased out completely, but I can look at it and go, this is so obsolete. Right? So next year, right? And I'm not saying like your job's obsolete. Yeah, I'm assuming you have I don't know if you have a day job or if you're writing full time or.
Right now I'm more of a stay-at-home mom. So my background is in construction management. So I actually used to work as a project engineer for a construction company.
That's really cool. Yeah.
So it was actually a lot of fun, and I've thought about going back to school full-time. Back to work full-time, because we live in South Carolina, where construction is huge right now.
Absolutely.
But we always come back to, what do we do with the kids during the summer?
Yep.
And that's kind of where we're at. So.
I mean, grant you, your kids are almost at the age, like when your 7-year-old's about 5 more years from now, you could do that, and you could probably figure it out at that point in time. But yeah, I understand. That's a logically, and you don't want your kids raised by a babysitter. I've seen that. It's not good. Um, but no, I mean like those are some examples. There are other big issues, right? And that's just one. I mean, there's gun control, whether you're for it or against it, right? Right.
I think if more, sorry, and I hope I don't, but if I think more people were carrying guns, less of these terrorist attacks happen. If people knew what they were doing, they carry these guns.
Yeah.
I guess that's the phrase.
Yeah,
People who were quality trained, like in Texas. I'm not from Texas, but my brother, who's in the military, he carried a gun.
Yeah.
And if someone's going to attack their school, he is prepared with a gun. So
no, but yeah, there's that though. It's an interesting. I'm of two minds with it. I think where most people get really worried about down there, it's how easy it is to get a gun down there.
It is easy. We were in Vegas,
yeah,
water skiing, and they said, "Oh yeah, you can get a gun before you leave to go back to San Diego."
Yeah,
we're like, well, okay, that's really easy, and I mean, obviously a tragedy happened in Vegas, but it's really easy to acquire a gun.
Yeah, like really, like that might be a little too easy. But that's kind of that's kind of like, like there are things like there's that there are your debt load, where your money is printed. There's, I mean, and by the way, Canada has problems too. Don't I'm not like going to be doing the judgment.
Problems. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful up here, but we no place is perfect. Like no, like I mean, look, we're overtaxed too. It's just, we're a lot more mellow about things up here. It's like, hey, unless there's a hockey fight involved, then we're bloodthirsty monsters. But that's okay. All right. And some of us have drinking problems. Actually, a lot of us have drinking problems. But that's it is cold up there. Yeah.
That's what you do.
Yeah. I mean that's just how it goes. But again, no place is perfect, right? So. But that's like from what I've seen, like what's going on now is you guys need to talk and go, okay, how do we want this to work? And you're gonna fight and disagree about a lot of things, and that's cool. But if you talk, I know it sounds like a simplified answer, because I know at this point, I mean, there's a lot of people and a lot of divide, and that'd be a lot of work at this point in time. And I don't think your media helps at all.
Not at all. Like I said, I'm not necessarily pro-Trump. Actually done a lot of good, but the media has skewed it to, because he just needs to take away his Twitter account. I mean, he just says these horrible things, but it's unfortunate because he's actually a very intelligent man. He's just not doing the smartest things. And but like I said, the Democrats aren't helping either. They need to get this tax reform in, which will actually help a lot of the middle class people. But everyone's fighting about who knows what. It really is divided right now. It's very sad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's just that's just what's going on. So, wow. Okay, we went there. Let's talk about something happier here. Okay, so went from parents to a tyrant to a possible tyranny in a country, and then now. So let's see. Let's talk about rainbows. I don't know. So. Yeah, so how about we go to this point then? How about we talk about why you're into writing? How'd you get in?
Okay. That's actually about a year and a half ago. I decided, I read a few books, and some of them they talked about agents of the crown, which are like spies.
Mm-hmm.
1800s, they were called agents of the crown. And anyways, some of them in being spies, but they were like wussy women. They were like women that they didn't really do anything, and they just kind of were afraid, and they would get beat up and kidnapped and attacked, and anyways, it was just not a very thing. And so I decided to write a book, and I had this idea in my head about a daughter of a duke who had a photographic memory, and she was her mother, because back in 1800s women were not viewed as anything other. And so her mother, when she found out she was so smart, kicked her out of the abbey, and she went to live with her uncle, who was the chief spy master of all of England, who taught her how to decipher enemy codes. And during that time, America was at war with France and America. or England was at war with France and America, and so he taught him how to decipher enemy codes. So I kind of had a story in my head, and it was going around and around, and I decided, like I said, a year and a half ago, to write the story. I had no experience. My background's in construction management, so luckily I had a few friends that were smart enough to tell me how to write a book, or at least basics, and until I figured it out. And then as I started writing more and more, then obviously I hired a professional editor to fix all my mistakes. But it was just, I decided to start writing.
Enjoy it?
Oh, I do. It's either, to me, I'm an avid reader. So I either write or read. Kind of one or the other.
So what do you read?
Oh, I read, well, I'm kind of stuck on, I love historical romances, or historical fictions, because for me, when I read place and time, I want to pretend I'm in I love, mail order bride things in 1800s, clean. I do, my book is clean and other books are clean, but I love being taken to another place and pretend I'm in this different world.
Well, so I'm almost surprised you don't read fantasy at that point, because it almost has kind of the same. That almost has kind of the same. Some fantasy.
Read some fantasy, yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So historical, like the O'Neill Gear, or are you more factual, history, or more like an adventure kind of what's your I read, for example, Sam Baron. He has he does Sumerian Empire, which is really cool. I really enjoyed it. Right, but I mean, it definitely had a bit of a pulpy Tarzan. Well, maybe Tarzan's not quite right, but a pulpy adventure kind of deal to it as well. On top of so for you, is it do you because you like going to different worlds? Do you like it being as accurate as possible? Do you prefer it to be it doesn't have to be completely accurate, but it has to be fun? What's your take on history?
So I have a very, it has to have a good ending. And if I read a book, even if it's not that good, I will stick it out and read it till the very end, because I'm not one of those people who can put the book down halfway. And I'll read it, and then if I read the ending and it does not have a happily ever after, like a good happily ever after, I will toss that book across the room so fast, because I want them to, I mean, it's imaginary, it's fake, it's made up. So it should have a happily ever after. They should get married, they should have children, they should grow old together. I mean, obviously you can't do that all in the book, but that's what you want to imagine.
Okay.
To have beaten the odds, and they will be happy forever.
So when
I read a book and it's like I just read one book that it was really interesting. I really liked the premise, and then it was at the very end, in 2 chapters out, the husband died. They got married, and then he died in a carriage accident, and then she went on to do something else. And, and my mom and sister loved it. They said, "Oh, what a great ending." I said, "No, it wasn't a good ending. They killed off her husband."
Yeah. Well, see, I don't mind sad endings if they're really good. One of my favorite endings is Stephen King's Dark Tower series. That is a super, super sad ending, right? A little bit there's a kernel of optimism in it, but it was so beautiful. It was just we got there. It's the end of the story. I was crying. I got to admit this. I was openly weeping when I got to the end, but in a good way, because it was so. It was beautiful. It was fitting. It was right. It's got to have a happy ever after. Okay.
It has to be me crying, because I'm thinking, oh, they're going to be so happy. They're going to have 20 kids together.
20 kids.
Statistically, she would die in childbirth. I mean, so many women died. So it would be no, they're going to grow old together, not, have a botulism or something.
See, I'm of the mindset that the ending has to serve the story. I can be a happy ending, it can be a sad ending, but it has to be right. Right? I just ended, I did an epic poetry series in the last book called Wandering God. It's not exactly a happy ending. It's not a sad ending either, but it fit that world. Right? It didn't. If I had done a happily ever after, I think, considering everything they went through, I think I would have cheated a little bit, because it's one of those things where again, this is just my take on endings, right? I think none of us walk away from this life. Like, the one honest truth about this life is, like, one day I'm not going to be here anymore. I will be somewhere else. Hopefully a better place, but I know that, but again, you never truly know until you get there. No one knows. Right? But along the way, it's not necessarily the destination that makes a character heroic. It's what you overcome. And that's true in real life as much as it is in fiction. So it's not like if I were to if tomorrow I didn't wake up, I mean, and I mean, this might sound really bleak. It's not. I'm okay with I'm okay with where I've done, what I've been through. I've spent my life chasing my dreams. I've worked with my heroes. I've paid some hard prices, and I've tried to be better, and I've helped people along the way. And to me, that's nothing. Like, yeah, I mean, I got a lot of things I still want to do. So I'm hoping tomorrow I do wake up and do those things.
I hope so too.
Yeah, me too. But the thing of it is, I still doesn't change what I've done before, and the things and the impact of what I did, right? In my book, the ending again isn't quite happy. It's not, but they do something incredibly heroic in the end, like all of them. And I'm like, but real life almost always dictates that, again, nothing's perfect. And I think like, for me, that's the thing. I think at this, like, a happy ending, there's a point in my head where it's like, okay, it's too, what's the term? It's too perfect. You know what I mean? I like it. I like it when the ending is just, it fits. It can be a happy ending because, you know what, someone can walk away. Life does go on, and I like that part. Life does go on. I don't necessarily need it, though, to be this particular character, because it's the journey, not the destination, to me, that really makes a story matter. It's right, and I think it's true with life in general, with all of us. It's our journey, right? It's not. Are we better? Did we learn from our mistakes? Did we become? Did we become more? Right? Did we grow? Our mistakes? Did we learn from them? Did we fall short? Because that says so much more about who you are than right. I think that's the real. I think that's the real capstone. It's not whether I think a person lives happily ever after. I sincerely hope that for everybody. Like, in real life, I do. But more than that, did they live?
Well, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Did they live, but with a happily ever after?
I mean, like I said, there's like some people do get a happily ever after, and again, I'm not saying it. I don't necessarily want to have it where, like, Romeo and Juliet, where everybody dies, or Macbeth, where everybody dies, because I'm like, yeah, but it's supposed to be sad, right?
You know, and I guess that's life. That would be more realistic.
Yeah.
Than them getting married and having children, and all of a sudden their families love each other, and they have them over for potlucks dinners. You know, that would be more realistic than.
Although sometimes even in negative situations, in the long time, there's hope. Like my family, like my mom and my dad. My mom still has some things. Actually, both my mom and dad still have some issues, but my grandmother on my mom's side and my father can get along now. Like, right, and time does. I mean, even if in that moment, it's not a good place where things end up, doesn't mean it stays that way, right?
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always hope. and I think that's actually I think more important than a happy ending. But again, that's my philosophy, and I mean,
when I read books, I like to be taken away for a moment. I like to pretend, because to me, I've never London before, or I've never been on these horse ranches back in the 1900s. To me, I want to imagine I'm someplace new.
Yeah.
And then have a happily ever after. So, as you can see, I'm a little dedicated towards.
Yeah, no, I know and that's fine. Like, I mean, look, we all again, all of us come for different things, right? And all of us. I will say this: you will be a lot happier when you can put a book down halfway. Sometimes.
That is impossible.
Well, no. You will get there. You will get there. I'll tell you why you will get there. I will tell you why you will get there. Because what'll happen is. You especially as you get more into writing, like I'm assuming you're going to do more books, you're going to recognize certain tricks and tools as time goes on, and then you're going to look at a book, and sometimes this is the flip side. This is the sad part of being a writer. Sometimes you will read a book and you will know exactly how it ends on like page 2. Yeah, you will know. It's like, and oh crap, am I right? Oh crap, I am right. It's bad because I'm like, for me, movies are terrible that way. Dark Knight Rises, I knew everything. I knew the ending of the story 20 minutes into the movie. The only question I had was which girl he was going to end up with. Because that was the only question I was not sure about. 20 minutes into the movie, I was like, I know everything. I was like, I hate myself. Why? Because I know how this ends.
Obviously, though, you did not see the ending of Wonder Woman, because that was the greatest movie of all time.
Wonder Woman was awesome. Wonder Woman was awesome. I knew that something had to happen with Steve. I'm not going to spoil it here for anybody that has not seen the movie here, right? But
Wonder Woman.
What?
Wait, who hasn't seen Wonder Woman?
You know what? I'm one of those. See, I'm one of those insane people. I have yet to see this trailer for The Last Jedi for Star Wars. I don't want to.
I haven't seen that either.
Yeah.
It doesn't change it. We'll go see it when it comes out.
Exactly. No, that's see for me. Like, I don't see the point of a trailer for that movie because I'm like, I'm going to see it. But what's the why go see this movie when I know I'm going to see it? Like. All right, it's when I don't know if I'm going to see a movie that I watch the trailer. That's kind of how that goes for me. So, but going.
I've been a fan of. Oh, sorry.
No, keep going. It's all good.
I've been a fan of Wonder Woman since I was young, wearing the costume Halloween. So I was tracking Wonder Woman since the moment it first aired on one of the. I was one of those losers cheering for it. I was one of those losers that went and saw Batman versus Superman. Just for the 7 minutes of Wonder Woman. So.
I have yet to see that movie. I heard it was terrible other than her. So, but.
When she came on, I cheered. I was wearing my Wonder Woman shirt. Yes, but that's, yeah.
So, I actually like, when Wonder Woman's written well, she's an amazing character. When she's not written well, it's terrible. There's no middle ground with her. Like, when it's good, it's really good, and when it's yeah. It's just that's just the way it is. Like, she's not Batman, where Batman can be anything. She can't. There are just some things that will not work with Wonder Woman. Like, right. Wonder Woman cannot be a vampire. Batman can be, right? But there are just certain places the character can't go, and once you realize that, you're like, okay. So when they try to go to those places she can't go, and it usually makes me very unhappy and depressed and stuff. But when there's a good run of her, like I'm a big comic junkie, like George Perez's run of her was fantastic. The most recent run with Greg Rucka and Liam Sharp and Nicholas Scott, that was fantastic. I liked Cliff Chiang, Brian Azzarello stuff. So I like I said, I like the character when she's good. When what?
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, so when she's good.
I'm really glad they've waited to bring out this Wonder Woman because she's fantastic.
Yeah.
So.
No, she's great, and so I think we've kind of gone everywhere and everywhere here. I think we're gonna talk about your series a little bit. So a little bit before we wrap this up. So so there's going to be more to it besides the first book. Yes.
The second book is actually going to be released next month.
Oh, cool.
So basically, the first book revolves around the Beckett files. So the first book is about Lady Eliza Beckett, like I said, who is the notorious Shadow. She's done these amazing things. And in the first one, she's suffering from near-death experience and from killing people. She's basically not prepared. She's become more of an assassin than an agent. And emotionally, it's taken quite a toll on her. And so you come into this book where all of a sudden she went into becoming an agent for adventure, for excitement. And she realizes it's kind of jaded her. Mm-hmm. And she's kind of going downward. And her brother, who's Lord Jonathan, he decides he teams up with the uncle, who's the chief spy master, and they partner her up with Lord Benedict Sinclair. So that's the first story is about how Lady Eliza Beckett, they go after white slavery ring. They're both going after this white slavery, the guy who is abducting women off the side of the slums and actually selling them to brothels around the world. So she kind of tackles that. The second book is about Lord Jonathan Beckett, her brother, who is searching for Lady Hannah, who her father is the Spain ambassador to Spain, and Earl has tried to assassinate Prini, which is the Prince Regent. So he has come across these documents through another agent, and he's bringing them back. And so these bad people, this Earl is trying to abduct Lady Hannah, and she goes into hiding. So the second book's about Lord Jonathan finding Lady Hannah and keeping her safe while they oust this Earl, who's actually a French spy. So, yeah. Then the third book is kind of more of an arc of that, the French spies. And then obviously, so right now I'm starting the fourth book. So, but the third book should be out in April.
Wow. So you're really getting a jump on this and stuff. That's really cool. So do you have like a finite ending to your series, or do you got or can you write it until forever and ever and a day?
Well, it's interesting because I have in the Beckett family, there is two sisters, there's twins, and then two brothers. So in the first four, I definitely have an ending for that story. However, it's the Beckett files. So in the fifth book, I also have an idea for the fifth and sixth and seventh book that can continue on. That's not necessarily in the Beckett family, but in the Beckett files. So it revolves around the characters.
So you can spin off, or you might do something completely new if you really want to as well. So
definitely keeping it with the spy. My book is actually Regency, which is in 1800s England, spy romance. So it's definitely more of a spy.
Yeah. So not spoiling anything. Do I have to guess or not whether it's got a happy ending or not?
Oh, they all have happy endings.
Yes, that's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. All right. So
I am huge on epilogues. It has to have a happy ending, and then you have to have an epilogue that you go, aww. That's what I go for.
Good luck. I hope your series as well. I really do.
Thank you so much.
So I think how we're gonna end the interview is this. Tell people how they can find you. Tell people about your current book and your next book, like what they're called and where people can get them.
All right, so you can find me on Facebook, author Laura Beers, and you can find my books on Amazon, and they're called Saving Shadow. This is the first one that was released in September. The second one is A Peculiar Courtship, which is coming out in December.
Okay.
To Love a Spy will be coming out in April through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other online stores.
Oh, right.
And, I forgot to tell you, the best part is my publisher put the price for the ebook at $1.99. So it's cheaper than the coffee you're probably drinking.
Probably.
Just fire that up.
Probably. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Actually, I guarantee it. So, all right. And that was Laura Beers. Very fun conversation. I want to thank Laura very much for being on my show. And, check out her work. You can get it on Amazon or any other place you can order books.
Like I said, we'll have a happy ending, but I think that's okay. We need more happy endings in this world. Speaking of, I'm gonna just briefly talk about my surgery. Lasers hurt no matter how much Novocaine's in your mouth. Doesn't matter. I literally by the time I was done, I was so numb. I was like drooling like for an hour like an idiot. It's like, bleh, but man, those lasers hurt. But on the same token, it's also like the coolest thing ever. I got like this mini lightsaber going into my mouth, going and it's like cool and so painful at the same time. It's like it's one or the other. Yeah, like I said, it's been good and interesting, and I want to thank each and every person that helped fund this, helped make this possible. Thank you very, very much. It was really, really cool. I got a couple of people I really want to thank here. My sister, first and foremost, for coming down with me. She keeps me honest on some stuff, and it's really, really important that you have people like that in your life, and she's good for me that way. I want to thank Corey McConaughey. I'm sorry, Corey, if you listen to this. Oops. In light of the incident with the author, I wasn't sure if I had done the right thing, and talking to him and talking to a few others, he he pointed me in an honest direction. He called me honestly on some things, and I was glad he did. So, he was a voice of reason when I needed it, and so Corey, thank you very much. I want to thank every person in my friends group that made me promise to do this. It took a lot longer than I planned on doing it, and I'm sorry, but I wasn't ready. But thank you. And now it's time to close the show, but we're gonna close it a little differently than I have in the past. The new motto this year is dream with your eyes wide open. That's what I'm gonna say. Dream with your eyes wide open. Good things can happen to you if you just dare to dream and dare to go with things and make them possible. So dream with your eyes wide open, and hopefully they come true. Okay? Okay. I'll see ya all next time.
Josh.